Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on when you're watching this. How's it going, guys? Why am I dressed all nice? Well, I'm about to go get ready to film my Silent Night video for Christmas, and I went to go get the mail, and we got a lot of mail. But there was one thing in particular that I got, which I opened this because I need to make sure there was nothing in there. Because when I picked this up, I was like, what is in here? Because it felt like nothing. Which turned out there was stuff in here. Specifically, 2 string sets we're going to try out today, and including another string set that's for a different video that I'll eventually link on the screen, but that's not going to come out in like several months. So, what do we got in the package? Well, we have 2 half sets from the Dario that we're going to put on our classical guitar. Specifically, these 2. The lightly polished SPC wound composite core half set normal tension strings, and then we got the titanium nylon half set, the top 3 strings. So we have the bottom 3 strings of the guitar and the top 3 strings of the guitar. That's why they're called half sets. So why did I get 2 half sets of strings, not just the regular Dario Pro Art strings? Well, I've been using those Pro Art strings forever, and I absolutely love them. However, I think it's time to upgrade. Just like if you're using the Dario regular strings forever, and then you want to upgrade to NYXLs. Or if you use Ernie Ball Super Slinky forever, and you want to one-up yourself to the M Steels, the Cobalts, or the Paradigm strings. I figured that I'd do the same with the classical today. And I know my guitar teacher at Seton Hill uses the lightly polished strings. I don't know about the top 3 strings, but since these only come in 3, and I saw that the titanium nylons only came in 3, we decided to put both together, and we're going to put them on our classical. Well, anyway, I'm going to go film Silent Night. I'm going to change out of this, so I'll see you in the video room when I do that. Alright, so now we're in the video room. When I recorded that video, it was like the Thursday before Christmas, 2018. Now it's 2019, the first Friday. We still haven't changed the strings on here yet. We just recorded the sound demo of how this guitar sounds with just the regular Pro Arte strings on. Here's a little sound clip of that. And so now we're going to change the strings, of course, with our 2 half sets. And we're going to do some other stuff too, like we're going to polish the guitar, we're going to put some fretboard oil on top of this also, and then we'll put the strings on. But you're going to see the process of the string change right now, and then I'll just talk about how I feel about the strings while I'm changing them. It's because like I haven't even opened these up yet, so you're gonna get my first impressions. Alright, let's go ahead and take these strings off. Just to save some time, we're gonna use the Ernie Ball peg winder so we can take all these off. And wonderful, all the strings are now off and our strap is falling off our headstock because there's no strings to hold it down. So I'm just going to do some quick polishing to the body, moisturizing the fretboard with some oil, and then we'll open up these new strings and put them on. Alright, all the strings are off. We did our polishing. Fretboard has been oiled as well as the bridge. And now it's time to open our first set of strings. We're going to be opening the 3 bass strings first, which is the lightly polished composite core normal tension basses. So let's open it up here. Slide the packaging right out, put that over there, and open it right up. And we get 3 strings, obviously. And this is, I haven't actually seen Look, this is, okay. So the inside of this little packaging that it comes in, which is just that, actually goes into detail like what each of the classical strings they offer like sound like. Well, what they're supposed to do, such as the refined nylon, the black nylon, the clear nylon, the composite, the titanium nylon, the carbon, semi-polished, lightly polished, and every kind. But yeah, so now let's actually feel the strings themselves. So let's just unwrap the E string, because that's what we'll be starting off with. So what I can tell, this feels weird, because like it's not like your normal classical bass string. Wow, that is... So these remind me a lot of flat wound guitar strings. Nice smooth feel to it. And actually it feels really good, and like feels strong, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and restring this, in which if you watch my restoration of the Yamaha classical guitar that I restored on this channel, you'll know that I love restringing guitars, but when it comes to classical guitars, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship, just because it takes a bit more time. So we're just gonna keep the camera on and time lapse this part, because like it always, when it comes to the stringing, it always comes down to how well you do the ties. Especially at the bottom, not so much the top. The top ones are super simple. It all comes down to how well you do the bottoms. So for all the strings, for the most part, we will double tie the bottom until we get to the top E string, the high E string, where we take out the titanium cores, and then we'll actually tie it 3 times, just because from experience, that's works very well for them. So we'll do that. Okay, so just feeling this string on here, it feels super weird, just because it feels a bit sticky. Then again, that's why they're called lightly polished. So it's a thing I'm gonna have to definitely get used to. But like I said, let's put the rest of the strings on first. Now I'll move on to our A string, obviously. The D string in particular feels the most like a flat wound. Like with the low E string, it still feels like there's a bit of a roundness to it, but this one just feels completely flat, like a true flat wound string. So now let's go ahead and flip the guitar around, and we'll open up the titanium nylons. And let's go ahead and open up the titanium core. And of course, the reason why we flip the guitar upside down when we restring it like this is just so it becomes a lot easier. Especially when you do classical stuff, the wrapping is just so much easier when you flip the guitar around. Alright, take it out of it. That one's a bit harder to take out than the other one. And these ones almost have a purplish tint to it. I don't know if you can see that up in the GoPro, but these have an almost blackish, purplish tint to it compared to just a clear coat on the regular Pro XA strings. And as you see in there, we still have all the information. I just noticed in this one that the bottom, like when you open it, first open it up, and you go turn it upside down. The top will be your trebles and the bottom will be your basses. That's just because I didn't read the packet entirely. Anyway, now let's string the E string. And if you remember from the classical restoration video, if you've watched that, the E string is my absolute favorite thing to do because it always cooperates. Man, this feels really different compared to your normal classical. It's almost rubbery, I want to say. Like, it doesn't feel... This is off camera, but I'm currently going up and down on the restored guitar and then on the classical that I'm holding in my other hand, and they feel completely different. Like, it's a weird thing that you have to feel for yourself. Okay, so that one's on here right now, and it feels, like I was saying, it feels almost rubbery. It's a cool touch to it, like not a cool as in cold, but it feels very weird and wonderful, as Elton John would say, onto the B string. Okay, so on this one I noticed, just running my hand up and down, because I'm still trying to get how to describe the feel is, but on this one I'm getting some rough patches on the B string, like, I don't know, like it's probably not going to come in the GoPro at all, or like that I can even see, but there's like some rough patches in there, like someone took a pair of wires, like clippers, and then just like put them down, like that. But that's beside the point. Hopefully it doesn't affect anything at all. Alright, so I want to make a point to mention that I moved to the G string, and I don't feel the same feeling that I felt on the B string, like just a random rough patch. So maybe that's just an error with that one string. Like I said, hopefully it doesn't affect anything, because that would be bad. All the strings are on, and now we tune her up. All in all, that took 20 minutes with talking and everything. So now we're just going to tune this bad boy up. Everything's tuned up. I'm going to give it overnight before I record all the audio tests with it, just so the way the strings settle in. And here, what I'm going to tell you right now is that the strings I'm not used to. Like, they are the smoothest set of strings I've ever had on the guitar. And this is prior to me changing the Johnny A over to the flat wound strings. And before that, my buddy Nick lent me an Ibanez with flat wound strings on it, and that felt super weird. But they felt really smooth, and these are even smoother than that. Now, obviously we're still going out of tune just because of how fresh the strings are, which is very common with any type of string change, especially on acoustics and classicals. Like your bottom 3 strings will be in tune because that's just the nature of bass strings, and then your top 3 will always go out. But yeah, these feel great. And honestly, these strings do look super cool on like just looking at them from the angle that I'm currently at, because they just like have a worn bronzy look to them. Like they look like old classical guitar strings, like if you leave them on for a year, but they feel new. Like they have the look, but they're new strings and they feel great. The titanium trebles still don't know how to describe them, but they are the sleekest nylon strings I've ever played in my life. So anyway, I'm gonna let this guitar sit overnight and constantly tune it so that way it stays in tune, and plus the GoPro is dying, so we'll dump all the files off down to my external hard drive, and we'll come back to you tomorrow with, well, same video, but we'll come back to you with how everything sounds. We'll actually do the audio test of these. Alright guys, well, it's been about 2 days since I changed the strings on this Lucero guitar, and honestly, these are probably the best strings I have ever played on any guitar, which is really weird because I play a lot of guitars and a lot of them happen to use many companies over the years. I've used Stringjoy strings on electrics, I used Martin strings on acoustics, I used D'Addario, Ernie Ball, I've used a lot of brands. And obviously these are D'Addarios, and it's kind of a stretch saying that they're the best strings I've played on any guitar, but honestly these strings are so comfortable and they just feel so different compared to every other string that I've tried in my life. And there is in fact one thing that I want to point out, and actually I need to go grab my other classical guitar over here back and move that, toss that over there. The great escape out of this corner. Why do I have this in here? Okay, here we go. Alright, so we got the restored classical guitar smiley because of the smiley face on the back. And there is one huge thing I want to point out between this one and the D'Addario strings that we just put on there. These are just the regular D'Addario Pro Arte strings, and there is something you gotta hear. When you run your hands across the fretboard, you're gonna get this noise. You're gonna get a whole bunch of that. And if we go on to the new D'Addario strings, you're gonna get very minimal of that. And when you're doing like like going between octaves such as that one, grab the other one. This is going to be out of tune because it's just been sitting over there. But the point is the little is very minimal on these strings compared to just the regular Pro Arte strings. I'm just going to do that quietly again. Very, very quiet sounding strings, and I love it. And honestly, these feel so great to play. I made the comparison when I was restringing that these kind of felt like flat wound strings. And that is true for the most part, especially on the A and D string. But on the E string, you still get a bit of that round wound feel to it, just kind of just a tiny bit. And honestly, on the other ones, they're almost completely flat. I don't know what goes up with the B string, why it's a bit rough on the bottoms, but honestly, these strings sound so good. You can't go wrong with these. Yeah, they're a bit more pricey than compared to regular D'Addario Pro Arte strings, but these play so well and they sound so good. Honestly, it took me a couple of minutes to get adjusted to it because they just felt so different underneath my fingers, but honestly, it feels so great and sounds so great, especially with this guitar. And if the look of the strings, they kind of have a bronzy look to them, which they kind of remind me of the nylon strings when you don't change them for almost a year. But other than that, but they are brand new strings, they sound so good and they play so well. I highly recommend these strings. Overall, I'm going to give them 5 stars out of 5. Well, anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. If you are considering these strings, I highly recommend it because they sound so good and play so good. And yeah, make sure to comment down below. Just something fun. Let me know if you play classical, and if you do play classical, what's your favorite song to play? Or if you're wanting to get classical, just let me know why in the comments below. Go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell notification because I hear that's important now. And make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on Thursday with a new video. Goodbye and good night. I'm gonna play some more.